Okay, good Tavach. Tonight was the 24th night, is the 24th night of the Eimer. My brother explained to me that we are actually on schedule because the last Amud, the last daf of Sotah is daf Mem test. So if we continue at the pace that we are currently going, then we are good to go. So I was planning on doing two lot tonight. We don't have to. Zok the Mishnah. We're starting from the fourth parak, Rez Hashem. Arusa v'shemeres yavim loy seishes v'loy netis ksuba, and Arusa and shemeres yavim do not, during the time that they're in this phase. Again, we learned already before that after they get married, they could be megalgal shvu on what happens now. But at the time that they're Arusa or shemeres yavim, they're Arus or yavim cannot make them strayed a woman under, no, it's under, literally under her husband, prat larusa v'shemaselim, that they're not considered under their husband, because even though the gabe arusa, she's esha shesh mamash for everything. So somebody who's boil and someone who's mizana with an esha sesh, the chaymisa, she's a regular. Someone gives her kedusha, not typhus. But you're missing this nekuda of tachas isha of under her husband, because they're not allowed to live together halach, even though it's only the rabbanon, but they're not allowed to live together, and they have to they live separately. So that's why it's not going to tax each. Fine. So there's going to be three separate categories of women that are shaisais and not, that do not drink and do not take the ksuba. The first category that we just said is there's a chesaron in the physical, in like the geographical context of the marriage. So in Arusa and Ishmael Selvin, that they live in a different house, basically, that's the issue with the marriage. It's a problem with the marriage on a physical level, let's call it. Like on a practical level. That's the better word, right? And then there's going to be other cases we're going to see in a second. Almana l'kayin gadol, gusha v'chalutz l'kayin hedyet. And Almana t'chayin gadol, which is asa midiraisa, gusha v'chalutz l'kayin hedyet is also the asa midiraisa, at least the gusha v'chalutz is, I think, is machlekes. Mamzeres v'nesinu l'Yisrael. Also, mamzeres, we know in the Sina is these gevinim that the suffix, if the real Jews, they're not real Jews. Either way, today they don't really keep Torah mitzvahs, and they're not allowed to marry regular Yisraelim. They also cannot drink, and they're not taking ksuba. Why? Because they have to be they have to be in a matziv of. Rashi says kisishta ish ishtai beruya leishus hakasim adav. The pasuk is talking about somebody that is roi for ishas, and even though she's physically roi, and she's not, it's not the kedushin is typhus because only isuri lav, but because there's an isur lav, she's not roi for ishas. So we're not going to try to maintain this marriage when it's usur. So this is a problem in the spirituality of the marriage. We had the first section was the practical aspect of the marriage. The second shlav, the second group, is the chaver that's usher in a spiritual level of with the marriage, the software, the back end of the marriage. And another group of people who don't drink and don't take the ksuba. If she admits that she's tamei, or there's eidim that say that she's tamei, even one aid, not even two aidim. But it could be one aid. It could be one aid she could get to suva, because one aid can't be mighty. I think it's machlekes, but it gets a two aid that everyone holds. By Maris and if she just stops, says she doesn't want to drink. That's those three cases. So what's the problem with this? This is a problem. This is a technical issue with the site, the process. So we have three different categories, and that's why it breaks it up by each one. It says because it's three separate categories. Again, the practical issue that she's not under her husband, literally she doesn't live with him together. That they're married be'isser, and that they are, and this is that someone screwed up in that she's making that there's a problem with the site to process, and it has to be a site to process she initiated. So she says I'm tamei, or she did something wrong, so the Adam comes she's tamei, or she says I don't want to drink. In that case, she doesn't get a ksuba, but. Amar Bala If the Bala says, I don't want to make her drink, he gets cold feet now because his wife is being schlepped around, they uncover here, they pull down her dress. It's a whole Bala guy, and he feels uncomfortable. He's like, what, stop, forget it, let's go home. Now, he's still usher to her, because they weren't Mavire the suffix, but he has to write her a ksuba because he stopped the process. And if they have relations on the way, also the May said it doesn't work, and it's on him that it doesn't work. Amar Bala so not this ksuba ve'ena shayis. Mesu ba'aleim if their husbands die actually if before they drink, they get the ksuba and they do not drink. Now everyone holds you don't drink. And Rashi points out very clearly that she's not allowed to drink. Basil is being like a shikol passive aggressive. He's like, if she wants the money, she should drink, but she's not allowed to drink, so she doesn't get the money. He's saying it in a funny way, but that's the halacha. Nobody holds you allowed to drink. A husband dies. We had this before. The woman cannot drink, and Basil says because she can't drink, she can't take the money. If someone marries, so now this is a whole separate category of Isuri Dirabanan. Someone who's married Isuri Dirabanan, and there's different way this plays out. Somebody who marries, the Chazal had a gezerah that someone should not marry from pregnancy through 24 months until the kid is 24 months old. You should not marry the mother, because we're chayshish that that you're gonna get pregnant, you're gonna get her pregnant again. The dam is gonna be mistalik. She's gonna stop being able to feed her baby. You're not gonna want to pay for the formula, and the kid's gonna die. That's the gezerah. You have to see if it's negay. For today, if we take a pass like that, I'm curious. Maybe we'll get to that when we see the Gemara. I'll look into it a little bit, but we'll see the Gemara further on. But this is the halacha. So he marries somebody who he's not allowed to marry midrabanan. Right? Until 24 months. Mary says, because it's Issa Rabbanan to marry her, you cannot drink. It's not Issa Olam. It's not like Amman L'Chayin Gadol is forever Aser, or even a Rabbanan that's Issa Olam. Like a Shnia, like a grandmother is Issa Olam. But over here, you're talking about, okay, Jeff, the baby's 6 months old, so come back to me in a year and a half, and we'll get married. He doesn't have to even divorce her. She has to be pious. Let him go move out and come back in 18 months. So there's no. So even right now, Rashi's medai. I was medai from. I think that's what Rashi means. Even right now, he can make her drink because she's right to Ishus. The issue was before with the Suri Lav that she's not royal to Ishus because she's Aser. Rashi, from what I understand from Rashi, she's because she's royal to Ishus in 18 months or whatever the time is after the kid's 24 months old. She's royal to Ishus ready right now, because I don't think it would be a chiddush to say that she could do it when she comes back. That's how I understood Rashi. I know this is Zakena, a woman who from birth cannot have children, or Zakena, she just went through her. She went through the process, and she's not able to have children anymore. Or I don't remember this. She's not ready to have kids. What does that mean? I don't remember saying this before. Give me 1 second. They used to do that. They used to she drink a sam to make herself not that she can't get pregnant. They used to do this. Rashi brings down. I don't know how I remember this, but from the like Parshas Bereishis, Rashi, a lot of the men had 2 wives, and Rashi brings down that one of them would drink the sam to make them makar, so their body wouldn't go from pregnancy and childbirth and balagan, and they would have babies with one, and they would have one, I guess like a shikol, like a trophy situation, like whatever. There was one that was they kept her like in better condition. So these 3 women that cannot have kids, either she was born like that, or she just went of age, or she did something to not allow herself to have kids. These women, you don't drink, you don't have. Because again, it's also to be with them if you don't have any other kids, and it's a shikol iser that you're not being ising per verivia. This guy can marry another woman. In the times of the Mishnah, you can have more than one wife. You can marry somebody else, and you can have kids with them. So it's not an issue that he's married with her. And anyone else that's not part of this Mishnah, either you drink or you lose your ksuba. Rashi says the Gemara is going to ask later Pshita, and Apipashas. I didn't look at the Gemara, but the Kahana have a lot of issues, especially marriage. If a kohen writes his wife a get, that's not even kosher for anybody else, except it's not kosher at all, depending on what level of puzzle it is. He has to divorce her. Or if Eishes kohen is manas, right? She was forced into relations. She still owes it to her husband. So it could be that it's something like that, where the Kahanim, there's a much more sensitive deal over there. Maybe that's the Chiddush. I have to see the Gemara later. Eishes Seris Shaisa. Eishes Seris, Rashi points out, Swiss, it sounds like what Rashi's saying is that he's completely castrated. And Rashi says that it must have been that it happened after he got married, because if he had to have had a bia but with his wife before this other guy. Otherwise, the whole thing doesn't come into play. So it must have been that originally he wasn't castrated. I did call a rice. So the Gemara says, Mishnah continues now in Kina. We just did the drinking process. We're going all the way back to Kina. I don't understand fully the hemshech over here, like what the flow is, but just interesting. I did call a rice mekana. You could be mekana even on all a rice. The Gemara is going to explain what that means also. But you could say, I don't like the way you hang out with your father. I'm chayshish that you're gonna sleep with your father, and I'm not letting you. I don't want you to be with him anymore alone. And if she's alone with her father, they can take him to Bezdin. They can take the husband can take the wife to Bezdin. The chayr with her son also to prom. And these are these kind of women. Bezdin can be mekana on the behalf of the husband. Mishnah is charash bala. Whether the husband became a cheresh, or it became a shaitan. Now it has to be the chayr that he came after he got married. So it's a real kedushin. It's a legit kedushin because he was a pikeach, and then he became a shaitan or a cheresh. Or he's in jail and he's not able to warn her. Didn't have a visitation over there, so he's in jail and she's doing things that are inappropriate. Bezdin will warn on his behalf. Not to make him drink, not to make her drink. If she doesn't listen and she does stira, then they'll take away her ksuba. He can even use this kina after he comes out. He'll make her drink based off this kina. So Gemara says that you cannot make a shmer zevim and an arusa drink. But it means you could be mekana them. They had it. It's a riboy of the mata aleim they had. That's the riboy of arusa and a shmer zevim lekino. Mastisa mani Rabbi Yonasan. Our mission is going to Rabbi Yonasan. The Tanya tachas ishech pratla arusa yachol shani moitzi af shmer zevim tamalem ishesh divi Rabbi Yoshish. Rabbi Yoshish is memayit from tachas ishech. That it has to be that it's not an arusa, but how do we know? Maybe it's also not a shemeres yavim. That's not tachas. It says ishish. That's marba yavama. A shemeres yavim. Rabbi Yonasan our tachas ishech prata shemeres yavim. Aitzi shemeres yavim lo aitzi as arusa. So maybe I would take out a shemeres yavim and not an arusa. Tamadoima asher tishta isha tachas isha. This is a plus that we said before in the Mishnah that it's tachas isha is going on arusa, pratla arusa. So he has two tachas for yivama, a shemeres yavam. Yivama means that she's already married, so that's a regular wife, and that's not what we're talking about. Shemeres yavam is someone who's waiting. Her husband died without kids, and now she's waiting for one of the brother-in-laws to make a move. He has two tachas for shemeres yavam, tachas for arusa. Ma'alima le arusa the kedusha. Ma'alima le arusa the kedusha didei the salkan ad yadei the salkan ad yadei. The Rabbi Yonasan says that the first one is mamayit shemeres yavim because it's a smaller chiddush. Right? We always have to mamayit the small chiddush. So the first tachas according to Rabbi Yonasan is mamayit only a shemeres yavim. Why? Because an arusa is much more like his wife because it's from his kedushin as opposed to the shemeres yavim, which is the brother's kedushin, and because of him, you would get skila because of that not skila. Why is it cycling? That shouldn't be cycle. It should be chenek. But I got that's a na'am rasa. That's interesting. Why does it say lashon cycling? Okay, Rashi says nescalis, but stam eshes is chenek. Unless you say na'am rasa is talking about skila. I guess you would say it's na'am rasa, but it's a nara. It's interesting. I don't think stam and arusa is skila. I think only if she's a nara. Okay, interesting. Okay, stam arusa is skila. I don't think that's accurate. Okay, either way, basically either way, whether she gets skila or chenek, he gets the boil and the wife gets killed because of this kedushin. But Omar Ali Malay Shemeres Yavim Delay Mechasum Masir Lechupa and Rav Aishia Rav Yeshia says, Rav Yeshia says that you mamayit from the first tachas, you mamayit arusa, because that's a smaller chiddush, because the Shemeres Yavim is more like a wife, because you don't even need chuppah. It's any bia that's not even fiznus, we're going to see later, is you don't need aid, nothing. It's just any bia is greitner. It makes her a nesua. Rav Yonason, hi ish my avadei. So according to Rav Yeshua, we said ish is come to be marba, a shemeres yavim. But if Rav Yonason says Rav Yonason's a mayit shemeres yavim from the first tachas and arusa from the second tachas, so what does he do with ish? The rabbis eshes cheresh eshes shaita eshes shamam, which is another type of shaita. That they're allowed to. I think that it's come to be married the bezdin's mekana, not that they could be mekana, but the bezdin's mekana for them. Yeshia, hi tachas isha my over there. What does he do with the second tachas? Again, he uses isha to be married shemeres yavim. He uses the first tachas to be married an arusa. What does he do with the second tachas? Later on, I think Chav Zayin, we're going to go through the certain halachas that passel the couple for drinking. So if one of them, so this I don't know if it's actually mechayis, but it's brought down three different, either a chiger, a lame person, a blind person, or a mute. If they have any of these three qualities or deficiencies, they are not kosher for drinking. But by each one of them, I'm not sure which one's which. That's more later. The pasuk will only say it by either the man or the woman. So if it says if the man is a chiger, then he can't drink. And it says, let's say the woman is blind, she can't drink. So this tachas ishech is coming to tell you, tachas isha comes to tell you that whatever is possible by the man is possible by the woman, and whatever is possible by the woman is possible for the man. Ella, so that's Rabbi Yeshua learning the second tachas. Ella, time of the ksiv, hani kroi, talking like this. Ella, time of the ksiv, hani kroi. You would say that what? You would, without these psukim, what would you say? You would say that a rusa should drink, right? We have, everyone has a miyut why a rusa shouldn't drink. But came from the south. He came with a teaching in his hand, literally a mishnah, but a memory in his hand. It says that's one of the psukim that we just said before. That you were straight and you lived with someone that was not your husband. No, it's not the one the psukim we had before, but it's a different pasuk. That a woman who strays and she lives with someone who's not her husband. So I'm not sure exactly what the limit is, but not that you weren't with your husband. You didn't the pasuk it's a shtickle mash like that. No, you slept with a man that wasn't the sleeping of your husband. But that means your husband already slept with you. This whole parsha only starts if the woman was originally with her husband, and then went on to went on to somebody else inside the marriage, outside the marriage while she was married, right? So an arusa wouldn't be part of this. Arusa is not allowed to be. Arusa is not allowed to live with her husband. So. Right, okay, so the Gemara's answers, it's possible. Let's say the Aris Shalaikadin went and was living with his Kala in her father's house. They had relations, and Rashi says business, which we're going to have to understand in a second. But and that's why so Rav Acha's limit falls out. But now we can fall onto these new psukim of tachas and tachas. The question is why Rashi says nus. He's come to Mavaran. Why not? What if we say that she's mekalish rabia? Why does it say that he did an isser, which is tamas that we usually ask Atuk Rishaya schema? Like you're not allowed to. Why would we say that the whole Joshua of the pasuk comes to the guy he doesn't listen to the halacha? We don't like that anyway. But why does Rashi say dafka business? Why do you say that he's boiled with kedushin? He was mekalish rabia, even though we didn't like that in Rav's mandin and whatever. Fine, but it's not connected halacha. So why do we say that he was mekadosh rabia? And then you have the answer is so the Mefarshim in the bottom of the Mesifta that the bia has to be after she's his wife, and the bia of kedushin is that when she was single. So for example, let's say that's a simple back and forth. That's why it has to be dafka this case that he was boiled her in her father's house, and bia kedushin would not work because the time of the bia she wasn't his wife, and it would still be outside this category of Shchivas Baal, it would still be a Shchivas Boil Baal, Shecham Shchivas Boil Baal, which would not let her drink. So we have a case where we need a psukim for an arusa, and it's according. If we need a psukim for arusa, and he's boiled her in the father's house. He goes, Yavam. So what are you going to say about Shemeres Yavam? You're going to Yavam the base chamias. So you're going to say that what? The same scenario. Why do I need a pasuk to be made Shemeres Yavam? Because he was boiler while she was waiting for one of the guys to make a move. He whatever, they went out. You called her Shemeres Yavam Ishtama Ayisehu. If there was any bia, the Gemara says, and we're going to see in a second, the Amar Rav Kana Lakal, any bia, even b'shaygi b'mezid, the Gemara says even if he was sleeping b'shas ma'aser, like mamish, not l'shem kedusha, not l'shem anything, she's 100% ishes, she's 100% kana, she's 100% enigma, nasu, whatever the lashon is. So why would you call her Shemeres Yavam? And the Gemara Kishmo. The Amar Laikana Elo the Dvar Ma'amurim b'Parsha. It's only the Gabe. This substandard bia only accomplishes certain things like basically answering the brothers and making him getting his brother's talek, but not the Yashana. If he's a kind of can't be metameter, she can't eat truma. None of that. So now say the Rav who holds that kind of lakal holds like Rabbi Yeshia that Shemeres Yavam drinks. Shmuel, you understand? Shmuel said that it's a chatzi, it's not really, it doesn't really accomplish anything. And she does drink. By the fact that I need a pasuk to be ma'id the Shemeres Yavam, it's mashma, it's a raya that she's a full-fledged wife. The Shmuel, I'm in the same thing. I know that I'm a feel Rabbi Yeshia. It's a the the fact that I need to be marba my Shemeres Yavam because it's such a shacha relationship. The lav ishta you cloud. If you're gonna hold like Rav, I don't need a reba. It's pasha. You boil her a little bit. I'm saying like a shacha bia with no l'shem kedushin and no real kavana. And if you're kind of like called, then what do I need a special reba to be marba? So that's where we come out. According to Shmuel, I would need a pasuk by Shemeres Yavam. Otherwise, it's the pasha that I wouldn't need it because Rav Chana taught us that the bia of the husband has to come before the bia of the boil. Otherwise, the whole Sotah thing doesn't happen. Thank you so much for coming. Tomorrow night we will continue with Daf Chav Hey.